A dhamakedar evening to one and all present here, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Kirtana, I'm your Sergeant at Arms, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to our meeting. I request you all to keep a note on the words you speak, and please turn on your cameras. We want to see those festive vibes in your face. Role takers and speakers, please rename yourself. All the guests and others, please cheer on to all the role takers and speakers whenever needed. Tonsils is a part of immune system. As a kid, my immune system was very weak. I used to fall sick very frequently. Any small change in the weather, it would affect me immediately. This kept on happening again and again. One day we went to the doctor and the doctor suggested that we remove the tonsils. So after that, I kept thinking, can I get better after my tonsils is going to be removed? Is it possible for me to be healthier after that? Like thinking all this again and again, I kept feeling negativity and darkness in myself. I asked the same to my parents. Is this possible? So they sat me down and they told me, see, instead of thinking, can I, just turn those words into I can, an exclamatory mark. And you can do it. And I started thinking, I can do it. I can get better. That small change from can I question mark to I can exclamatory mark, there's a lot of change. It lit a small light inside me, removing all those darkness and negativity that I created within myself. And now, the moment we all start thinking I can, we are a few steps away from I did it. And I did it too. By putting that good fight, we can all do it. Coming to the topic of good fight, I would like to repeat what the general evaluators in the last few meetings told. Every single Toastmaster meeting is planned a fortnight before. Even this meeting, 15 days before, it starts getting planned. It is the same every single time. This person keeps checking if everybody is available, the availability of the people, and which role should be given to which person, and make sure that the pathways are in progress every single time. Gets slots outside the club, coordinates between different clubs, and keeps a check with the TPL scores of our club. Make sure there's not a single dropout. Keeps trying to do that. Sometimes there is a dropout and still she doesn't give up. She makes sure that there is a slot filled again. She never gives up. She keeps putting up this good fight. She has always been doing this, and please join me in welcoming today's presiding officer, our VP Education, Hannah Victoria. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kirtana, for that lovely introduction. A very good evening to all my fellow Toastmasters and guests. I thank you so much for making the time to attend today. Today being a very, very important festival and family and friends, a time with family and I thank you from the committee, from the bottom of our hearts, that you all have made it, each one of you. I think by Tuesday, Wednesday, I was a little bit apprehensive as to will we have the meeting, because everybody said that they either are not in town or they can do it online. And I was hoping against hope that it will be an offline meeting. But anyways, that's how we change our decisions to accommodate the broader picture. Yes, and before I move on, sorry, I would like to invite our secretary, Toastmaster Preeti Korean, who I think our secretary this term is filled with vitamin C. And what I mean by vitamin C is the consistency, the vitamin of consistency. If you notice the past term, the past few 4 months, she has been consistently giving us the minutes, same time, same day of the week, and same time. So that's very, very difficult to maintain, which she has maintained so beautifully well. I call upon Secretary Toastmaster Preeti Korean Verghese to kindly give us the Secretary's report of last meetings. Over to you, Preeti.
Thank you, Hannah. Good evening, Bangalore Toastmasters and dear guests. Happy festivities to each one of you. The members of the meeting number 1296 embellished the theme of the meeting, the unforgettable mentors, as this of the day, meaning to heighten the attractiveness of by adding decorative details. Sergeant at Arms talked about Krishna coming to the rescue of his mentee Arjuna, and President recalled how his cousin inspired him to learn bicycle. Toastmaster of the day, the quick-witted Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, intertwined the meeting flawlessly while speakers inundated us with thought-provoking speeches. Toastmaster Utkarsh philosophical speech tried to shuttle us between life and death. Toastmaster Pratik's work-life balance, Toastmaster Sai's growing one's own food, and the icing on the cake, the project of Toastmaster Robinson Sir's focus on the positive, made us reflect back on our lives. Table Topics Master Toastmaster Vivek Vijayan gave a twist to the table topics session by showcasing pictures for impromptu speaking. The general evaluator, Toastmaster Somshekhar Sir, along with his Taggle team and other evaluators, Toastmaster Akhilesh, Toastmaster Mahesh, DTM Dr. Rasdeep Sir, Toastmaster Sujata Ma'am, and their words of wisdom, anchored the meeting to the show. Our total strength was 50, out of which 33 of them were members. The star of the meeting were Taggle team player, Toastmaster Smita Roshi, role taker, Toastmaster Somshekhar TH, table topic speaker, Toastmaster Varsha BM, evaluator, DTM Dr. Rajdeep Manwani Sir, speaker, Toastmaster Robinson D'Souza. Over to you, Toastmaster Han.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Preeti. So are there any amendments to meeting number 1296? I declare the minutes of meeting number 1296 as passed. Great, thank you. I must take the opportunity once again to thank President Srijit and SAA Toastmaster Kirtana for every week carrying out the theme of the meeting so graciously. It's very easy to create the theme of the meeting, but to pull it on, it needs a team. It's an effort, and I thank Kirtana and President Srijit for doing so every week so graciously. The theme of this week's meeting is a good fight. It basically, the thought was to coincide with the reason of the festival today, yes, and why we celebrate Diwali. I've had basically a few fights in my life, okay, many of which I have lost, some of it I have won, but most of the times the fight was not verbal. Basically, it would be within myself. And recently, I had this habit of getting into an argument only when I know all my facts and figures, and I wouldn't give an opportunity where I'm questioned and I don't have an answer. So basically, I would keep quiet, and only when it's absolutely sure that I have everything in place would I move forward. But however, I wanted to let you know a battle which I did have recently, which I undertook. Basically, it was always there, but then to recognize that there is a problem, which I just did recently. I have been married for the last 17 years now, and for the last 7 years, my husband was not with us, in the sense he worked overseas. So the initial years, whenever he came, we were in great, I was very happy, and whatever we couldn't do in the last 6 months, we would do, and things like that. But the last 2 years, okay, what it means when the man of the house isn't at home is that I had to take over. I had to take over the children, the running of the house, everything, and all, particularly the decisions. Every decision, there are so many decisions you take during the day, in a day, and which you take on your own. Okay, yes, the bigger decisions, my husband was in touch, but then you tend to use your own judgment. Okay, the last 2 years, whenever he came, the first week was very good, but then he wanted, since he was away from us, he wanted to be part of every sentence. Really, I'm literally telling you every sentence. So everything my children did, or everything I said, he wanted to be a part of it. And I couldn't get, in the sense, it bogged me down to some point, because he would say something and I would say something. So it was, I couldn't personally, maybe on the surface everything was fine, but then personally I got quite bogged down. This time, now my husband is with us now at this point in time, and this last 1 month he's with us, and this 2 weeks, what I have done, I have realized that if I don't change this, this is something to do with me, and if I'm not going to change the situation within me, it's only I'm going to be the loser. So what I did was, I started keeping quiet, in terms of, uh, if my children are talking, or if he's talking, I wouldn't react. Normally I would also react. Every sentence he said, I also will add, be it good or bad. I mean, it's not always it ends into an argument, it's not like that. But then I started very consciously avoiding unnecessarily talking back. And then every time I would mark a one in my diary and say, I fused one fight. I fused one fight. Okay. I did this for at least a week. And then I realized um, the whole house is at peace, in the sense, to some extent. Okay. And it's got to do, it's a battle which I fought, and it's not that I've reached the end point. No, I've started it. My fight over the evil within me has started, and I'm sure in the journey, I should, since I've made the start, it will what do you say, have a good effect on the family, definitely. So that was my fight of late. So I think that when we realize, many a times we don't realize that the battle is within us only, most of the time. But when you realize that it takes time, and that maturity, to get to understand that if you change, then the things around you change, and you feel happy. And I did feel good about myself, that I did make that effort. That ego, it is basically a battle of ego, in my case, a battle of ego. Yeah. And that, I think I could overcome to some extent. So that is what I wanted to share with you, that so many I mean, we face battles every within us most of the time. So that is what I wanted to share with you. And coming on to the TMOD, I did not take the Toastmasters introduction, because I was very confident that I know her very well. So I'm going. Please forgive me if it's somewhere wrong, but um, this Toastmaster is one of the most charming Toastmasters I have come across. Okay, she's very well dressed, according to me. She's a teacher by profession. She teaches a subject which many of us hate, many of us love. So there is no in-between relationship with this subject, mathematics. And she has I have heard her speeches, and there were many times where she has said how she has fought her battles, especially with regard to her working and taking care of the family, and how her resilience she was so resilient that she overcame every hurdle for her to continue her work. And I give it to Toastmaster Smitha Roshi. She's the Toastmaster of the day, and it's all yours, Toastmaster Smitha.
Good evening, your Toastmasters and guests. Thank you, Hannah, for that wonderful introduction. Now here comes how many of you have worked under mean bosses? Oh, well, you may not want to answer that because in case the boss is in the meeting. Okay, I'll put the question like this. How many of you have never ever worked under a mean boss or a mean teacher come across? Like, can I have your hands up? Oh, well, I don't see many. Just imagine this situation. You're that mean boss. Just imagine he met with an accident. Well, not a major one, little bit scratches here and there, and a broken arm. What will be your first reaction? I repeat, it's nothing major, okay? First reaction maybe, well, yes, he deserves it. And then somewhere in your mind, a thought pops up. Hey, that's not fair. It's not right of me to think like that. Isn't it? The fight between good and evil constantly happens, if not elsewhere, in our mind. Human mind goes through this battle. And whether the good wins or the evil wins makes you the person you are. A little boy, every day after coming from school, he reaches his home. His mother is working, so he doesn't, the mother is not there. Mother keeps the lunch packed. He comes there, opens his tiffin box, and his favorite routine is he will go to the balcony. This happens in the streets, busy streets of Mumbai. Goes to the balcony, opens his lunch box, and starts eating his lunch. And busy watching what is going on in the street, slowly the food goes in. One particular day, his eyes, he was about to start eating, and his eyes were stuck on an elderly couple. He could make out that that couple, they are in anguish and they are moving so slowly, they are tired. Even though he was standing in the balcony 2-3 stairs up, he felt it. And immediately what he did, he closed his tiffin box. He ran down and gave this packed food to those old couple. This old couple had a very sad story to tell. They were driven out of their house by their own children. They were so sad, and this little boy could sense it. The good in his mind won. And guess that person, that little boy, is in this meeting today. You can keep guessing who it is. The goodness in him won. The good fight, today's theme, in context with the victory of Rama over Ravana, and in some mythology, Krishna over Narakasura. What struck my mind was this good fight was a long 12-year-old fight. A good fight is about the willpower to win in the right way. Patience, persistence, and passion is the key to this long-lasting victory. Like Rome was not built in a day. Like Rome was not built in a day. Toastmasters International was also not. A passionate person whose persistent efforts for over 20 years. The founder of Toastmasters, Ralph C. Smedley, he worked on it. He wanted to improve the listening skills and the speaking skills of people. He worked on it persistently for 20 odd years before he found the first club in 1924 in Santa Ana, California. And now the Toastmasters International, the Toastmasters movement is over 149 countries with 16,600 clubs and 4 lakh members. For the benefit of guests, a typical Toastmasters meeting has 3 sessions. The first one is the prepared speeches. Today we have 3 prepared speeches, 3 well-known good speakers. We are all waiting for that prepared speeches session. And then we have the interesting table topic session. Everyone present here, mind you, everyone in the meeting has to be a keen listener for the session, because you may be the next person to be called out in a table topic session to speak. The session is all about your ability to listen well, comprehend, and express yourself. And the third session is about evaluation. We have a group of seasoned Toastmasters who will let us know how well the meeting has gone forward. And this evaluation session is the one which takes all of us a step forward. It's not only the role takers or not only the people who are participating or speaking out. Everybody gets to learn something. The most meaningful session of the Toastmasters meeting. And to take us through this evaluation session, we have a well-known Toastmaster, the past president of our club, as the general evaluator for today. He says about good fight. A good fight is needed to build us inward. His take on a good fight is needed. And whenever you have it, you face it and move on. We have as general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Ayappa Ponachanda. And not to help him in his role, we have a set of evaluators and a taggle role takers. Now, taggle stands for the timer, accounter, grammarian, and listener. As the timer for today, I have Toastmaster Priyanka. Priyanka, can you please explain your role?
A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, my role is to notify the speakers and the role takers about the time taken. Please note, for speakers, I will be displaying the green card. In third last minute, the yellow card, the yellow card is second last minute, and the red card, the final minute, the end of the time. And for table topics, please note the table topic time is for 2 minutes. I'll be displaying the green card at 1 minute, yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, and the red card at 2 minutes. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. As our counter for today, we have a passionate Toastmaster who's passionate about cosmology, stock market, and bodybuilding. Toastmaster Aditya. Aditya, over to you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Today, I'm the R counter. The purpose of the R counter is to note down words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will also listen for overused words such as and, well, but, so, you know, etc. I will also listen for filler sounds including or I will note down when a speaker repeats a word or a phrase such as I, or this means, or that means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker has used these expressions. Thank you so much.
You
Back to you,
explained the role well, Aditya. The next role taker is our grammarian, who is a master student in mathematics. And I will say, math and grammar doesn't go so well for everyone. The grammarian for today is Toastmaster Jainam Kakra. Over to you, Jainam.
Yeah, good evening. So I'm the grammarian for the day, and my role is to note down the good and the bad usages of English grammar. As far as bad usage is concerned, I will note down the incorrect usage of verb, incorrect usage of tense, and also pronouns, and I'll note them down. And as far as good usage is concerned, I'll note down the usage of good phrases, good words, and interesting ideas, and I'll note them down as well. And I'll also have to introduce the word of the day, and today's word of the day is hegemony, which means, one second, I just want to, yeah, 1 minute. Hegemony means the control or a power over a group of people or of one state over other states. And a good usage of it would be something like, as India's economy improves, we can also expect India's economic hegemony to rise in all of Asia. And so I present my report of good and bad usage of English grammar to the general evaluator at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jainam. The next role taker is listener. We have a listener, a person who is doing the listening job every single meeting in an exemplary way. Our secretary of BTMC, Toastmaster Preeti Kurian.
Thank you, Toastmaster Smitha. Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. Once again, as a listener, I will be noting down a few interesting words or phrases, and at the end of the meeting, I will test your listening skills. Today, I'm going to enjoy the hegemony of being the listener and check out how you fare in the listening department. Over to you, Toastmaster Smitha.
Thank you, Preeti. And now for the most awaited prepared speeches session. For our first speech, it's going to be evaluated by a disciplined person. The self-disciplined person thinks a good fight is about self-discipline, which leads to sparkling, spectacular, and satisfying outcomes. Toastmaster Nagesh Ramamurthy. Sir, can you please read out the guidelines for the next speech?
Thank you, TM. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. The first speaker today is attempting an icebreaker. The purpose of this project for the member is to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speech. Timer, please note the speech length would be 4 to 6 minutes. All the best to the speaker.
So the next speech or the first speech is going to be an icebreaker. He has titled it as Zero. But I will say he is not just a zero, because the little boy who brought his goodness out is none other than our first speaker, Toastmaster Mahesh Shankar. Over to you, Mahesh. Mahesh?
When this child was in 5th standard, he was eating his lunch and he had a temptation to have a pickle, but he didn't really want to get out of his table and go and fetch a pickle from the refrigerator. At the same time, there was a huge sound. He was quite tempted to see what exactly happened. So he ran to the balcony to see what's happened. At the same moment, there was another huge sound which came in. He was quite surprised. While outside it was a flat tire, then he ran inside, exactly the same place where he was having his lunch. The entire roof came down. That 1 second changed his life. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. That shiver still is there in me when I just think about that particular moment. So I thought, let me talk about my life that is zero. My grandmother, who I call her as Pati, she always had zeal in her, whether be it crochet at an old age or even watching a serial. She would have her own imagination and create a kind of a situation where we all would enjoy. And for that matter, all her work, even at the age of 80 plus, she would do it all by herself. And she always told me that, Mahesh, you have to do your own work, be it whatever it is, big or small, but always carry it with zeal. That's Z. My mother, who I loved the most, Amma, she was always grounded, very caring, and she would listen to everyone, always willing to help. And even at times when in school, there was always a complaint from my teacher. She used to listen what was those complaints. And then she would try to explain me and tell me what I'm doing wrong, but she would never raise her voice, or for that matter, she would never raise her hand as well. It was always empathy in her, which I learned. When there was an authority needed, she would use her authority, but it was always was with an empathy. That's E. My father, Appa, for him, relationship mattered the most. He was very hardworking and dedicated and very determined. At an young age, he had to support the entire family, including ensuring that both his sisters got married. So for him, relationship mattered a lot. Whenever there was holidays, vacations, we all would go to Chennai, and elsewhile it was called as Madras, or to other places. Even any functions he wouldn't miss, and we all would go together. I enjoyed a lot. That bonding actually helped. And I never witnessed hegemony within my family. Even the maids who would come, he would always tell that we have to treat them equal. We would share the same food what we are eating and never give any stale food. And that's the same culture which has been imbibed in me. So that's R. And then finally, in school, I was very notorious and I was very mischievous. So in one particular incident, I actually cut one of my friend's umbrella. The next day he came crying and he told my teacher, her name is Hema. I would never forget her name. Hema means that someone has gone ahead and cut my umbrella. So she asked the entire class, who has done it? I didn't even felt anything bad about it. I raised my hand and I said that I have done it. She was full of anger. She asked me to come in front of her, asked me to show my knuckle, and she hit me with the scale. At the same time, she told to the entire class, this boy, without any hesitation, he stood up and he told the truth. This is his original, that is O. So to me, zero always stayed with me. That is zeal. E is empathy, R is relationship, and O is being original. So for me, when it comes to zeal, any work, whatever I do, be it small or big, I wouldn't hesitate. And luckily during this COVID time, I helped without any hesitation. My wife didn't have to complain at any given point in time, and I was ready to do any kind of, be it washing the utensils, grooming, or any other thing. Empathy. I always felt being empathetic is so good. Whatever I have experienced during my childhood, I always carried it. For me, even 1 rupee is as equally important than 500 or 2000 bucks today. And I always listen with care to those people who need help. Relationship, for me, relationship is number one compared to even my work. Just recently, 1.5 years back, I made it very clear with my family. We should spend more time together. Always I was deprived of leave. I said, whatever may come, we should have 4 to 5 small holidays or big as it matters, but we should spend time together. And you won't believe, I actually did that. And then finally being original. My bosses, my top management, they always say that Mahesh, you are original. And over to you. Thank you.
Zeal, empathy, relationship, original. Indeed, you are a zero, Mahesh. Let us give a big round of applause to Mahesh Shankar for delivering his icebreaker in presentation mastery. So we can unmute and give him a big round of applause. If you can't do that, you can put your applause symbol. For everyone, actually, we should give him a standing ovation. I request everyone who is possible, if please give him a standing ovation for his icebreaker. Thank you. The next speaker is going to be evaluated by a Toastmaster. I asked him, how should I introduce you in one sentence? And he told me a word, plumber. Oh, no. He said he's plumbing data pipelines. Okay, only people of his caliber can understand that. The next evaluator is Toastmaster Vivek Vijayan. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you so much, Smita Doshi. The speech is public relations strategies. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to effectively use public relations strategies for any group. And it's for the member to share some aspect of his public relations strategy. Time is, timer please know, it's 5 to 7 minutes as usual. Back to you, Toastmaster Smith.
Our next speaker is a foodie. You ask her what food joint where in Bangalore. She's the best person to reach out to.
I think there is a problem. I was supposed to evaluate Prakash Tamhankar.
Correct. I also thought the same. I was told that Lalit will be evaluating.
So,
all right.
I have already read, so yeah,
Okay,
Lalit can read out and then
Prakash.
I could be ahead of time, right? So I don't know, whatever you want to do.
I'm
Prakash,
okay either way. I'm okay either way.
Next?
Yeah, I'm okay either way.
Thank you. So the next, thank you, Vivek, for telling that. Our next speaker, I asked him, Toastmaster, how do you do all this? He's been an area director, division director, president of BTMC. He has so many feathers to his cap. How do you do all this? And he is a leader by example. He leads by example. How do you do all this? And then he answers, Smita, you have to be a teenager in Toastmasters for that. Our next speaker is attempting level 4 dynamic leadership project public relations, his speech title, Public Relations Strategies, the gem for Toastmasters. Our next speaker, Toastmaster Prakash Tamhankar. Over to you.
Proof of the pudding is in the eating. That's what the proverb goes. And how do I make sure that what I want to communicate to everyone reaches them? The best way is to experience it. And so is it with Toastmasters all the time. To explain a typical Toastmasters meeting to anyone is a big challenge every time. And being a public relations person, whether at the club level or at the district level, has its challenges. You have to explain so many roles, you have to explain how they will help, and the challenge is difficult to explain. The simplest experience is to call them for an open house meeting and tell them, this is how a Toastmasters meeting is. Come, experience it, and have the fun. My first experience with this experiential learning with Toastmasters happened when I was the VPE of our Bangalore Toastmasters Club. And I realized that Speechcraft is the program that we can work with for an excellent public relations exercise. Why do I say so? The simplest reason is everyone in the program gets to experience the Toastmasters way of working and learn how to speak in a public platform. It was so simple, yet so profoundly useful from the club perspective. We utilized it very well while I was the VP education as well as the president to grow our membership from where we were at that time, 48, to excellent number of 85, 90, where we want to be all the time at Bangalore Toastmasters. Then I took up the responsibility of VP Public Relations at Beachy Toastmasters. There the challenges were different. I realized that they have membership challenges, and doing a Speechcraft with very few people who were regularly attending meetings was a big challenge. I focused on making sure that we spread the word of Toastmasters by word of mouth, get more guests to the meetings, and make sure that they get converted to members as we went along. That public relations strategy worked. We supported that additionally by creating website for the club, making sure that members were empowered and had all the information they needed to be able to communicate what Toastmasters is to their friends and get them to our club meetings. That strategy worked well. What I realized is the same strategies do not work at all levels. When I became the president of Speech Studio Toastmasters Club 5 months back, we had the same challenge that we had at Beachy Toastmasters. We had very few members, 17 of them to be precise. Hitting 20 was the minimum we required. The challenge was a big one with pandemic in progress, no physical meetings, and the only possibility of online meetings. Getting 10 to 12 members to attend our regular meetings was a bigger challenge. That's when I remembered Speechcraft. I said, let me give it a try. The strategy was to get more people to join in as members. I thought bringing them into the program and then converting them to members would be a good strategy. What I did not know and discover till then was the real power of making sure that Speechcraft not only acts as a public relations exercise, but also as a tool to garner members. While discussing with my executive committee, I realized that if we price the whole program right, we will not only get enough people for our Speechcraft program, but we'll also have members on board. A little tweaking of the pricing, and we had 8 members joining the Speechcraft program and 7 of them becoming members of the club right away. What was the trick? It was just the price differential between the Speechcraft program and Speechcraft program together with the membership. And it just worked as magic. Everyone saw the benefit of being a part of the Toastmasters Club while they attended the Speechcraft program. And that was something that every member of the Speechcraft program benefited from, just as they do at every Speechcraft program everywhere. Speechcraft, whoever is doing the public relations exercise needs to realize is the gem that exists in the whole mechanism that we have at Toastmasters. Open house meeting helps get them an experience of what Toastmasters is. Guests can experience it. But the proof is in the eating. Why I say that? Because unless you participate in the meeting as a role taker, as a speaker, as an evaluator, you will not learn how the program helps you become better. And once you have experienced that, you feel that you need to continue it to become continuously better at what you want to do. That's where Speechcraft was a gem that I realized helped not only my club garner the members that they needed, but also take public relations as a strategy to a different level. Whoever wants to look at this gem, please take benefit from it and grow your club, our club, to a greater height. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
You are a strategy king, and I am a witness to your decision-making skills. Toastmaster Prakash Tamhankar, let us give him a big round of applause. Always a pleasure to listen to your experiences. For our next speech, we have the youngest DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster Lalit Talam, as the evaluator. Over to you, Toastmaster DTM Lalit.
Thank you, Smita, for this wonderful introduction, and thank you, committee, for giving this super opportunity. I will be reading out the guidelines for Toastmaster Varsha, who's attempting her project today. The purpose statements are as follows. The purpose of this project is for the member to apply the skills needed to successfully lead in a volunteer organization. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her experience serving as a leader in a volunteer organization. And I think, I think that was a little repeated, but yeah, that's about it. All the best to Toastmaster Varsha. Here's wishing you good luck.
Thank you, Lalit. Thank you.
This Toastmaster, I already gave a small intro about being a foodie, and everyone knows this bubbly, happy girl, a wonderful singer. She sings professionally Hindustani music. But there is something more to her than simply being all this. I found a highly spiritual person who highly spiritual that he thinks beyond the reality of God by a name. She says you need to move inwards to experience that great power. Let us listen to Toastmaster Varsha while she's delivering her level 5 speech from presentation mastery. Over to you, Varsha.
Okay, let's end down. This is the kind of entry that you will receive if you are a vice president membership at Bangalore Toastmasters, especially at Bangalore Toastmasters, because there is a huge queue of members just waiting to enroll and just waiting to see their names in the member list. Members need you because they need membership. Guests need you because they need membership. Members need you because they have a lot of grievances to share. So all in all, you are like a celebrity. That is the feel I had when I had taken over back in between Jan to June 2020 as a vice president membership. After a very competitive election that happened in December 2019, I was elected as a vice president membership, and I did my role as a VP membership between Jan to June 2020. This gave me a mixture of experiences. I learned what to do, I learned what not to do, and I learned how to do. So over the next couple of minutes, I shall be sharing a couple of my experiences. One, as a committee member. Two, as a VP membership. Three, as Varsha. What is the personal benefit that I drew from taking up this role? So to begin with, like I mentioned, committee always comes first. As most of you, the members who witnessed, every single term will have a bunch of leaders who work together to make the term extremely successful, both in terms of academics and in terms of the personal benefits the members should be attaining. If I'm not wrong, the motto that we had was, let's grow together. And as a testimony to that, that term saw maximum accomplishments as far as academic records were concerned. Why so? All thanks to Toastmasters International, because they had decided to close the traditional competent communicator manuals and wanted to start the pathways on a full-fledged manner. And thereby, we as committee came together, also conducted extra meetings. There were situations when we had to cancel table topic sessions. There were situations when we had to conduct extra meetings, which also meant that we as committee leaders had to keep away our personal time and came extra, and we served the club. So the committee saw a lot of accomplishments in terms of having the most prestigious, be it the COVID Golden Gavel Award. We inducted 15 plus members. We had our strength close to 120. And we had an exceptional retention record. So was this all possible just by an individual? Absolutely not. It is the committee and the committee efforts. Now, working together, what is it that I learned? The first thing that I learned was how to sell my ideas. So when I tell my captain or my president that, you know what, the person who came before me had already inducted X number. I, to have my personal accomplishments, should do Y number. No, it is absolutely rejected. That's how the situation looks like. But if you have a different strategy to explain, for example, hey, you know what? Look, we have Fast 5 award. How about inducting 5 so that we get award to our club? Also, we can contribute to Golden Gavel. Immediately it's sanctioned. So there is a way to approach people. So that is exactly what I learned. And being a part of committee, I also learned to let go. I've worked with 2 committees, and although all the members that I knew were a part of both the committees, my experiences in both the committees were completely different. Not every time when you ask for things will it get sanctioned. Number 1, because it might not be in club's interest. Number 2, because people might not be open to creativity. But for the interest of the club, for the interest of the committee members, I learned the art of letting go. Also, I also understood that club comes first no matter what. There were times when we had to there were times when we had to attend the seminars, conferences, the judges training meets, just because our club gets points, although we were not personally interested. So that is something that I learned. Now, coming to the second category, if I have to explain as to what I learned as a VP membership, I had a lot of learnings, a lot of takeaways. There was a trend at BTMC while the induction used to happen based on the attendance record. Now, for the first ever time, we pitched in the idea of bringing in diversity to the club. While we see this trend of having a particular age group people more in number, a particular gender more in number, people from a particular background more in number, we broke the trend. It gives me immense pleasure and pride when I see youngsters like Kirtana, who's acting now as a leader, Manjunath, who's doing fantastically well outside Toastmasters. When we look at students who join then, like Vishal or Achyut, Nicole, Kirtana, it gives us immense pleasure because we added that flavor of diversity. So if you understand what the takeaway here is, it is the same thing that we did. We did the induction of members, we added new people to the Toastmasters, but did we follow the same monotonous approach? Absolutely not. It was with a different approach. So it gave us immense pleasure and joy when we backed all the 5 membership related awards. And getting those were not easy because that was the first ever time we switched from normal meetings to that of the online meetings. I still remember that day when all of his members had gathered at Ashirvad and we had to switch instantly from offline to online, and we committee members were trying to explain. The government had just passed that regulation that no social gatherings were allowed. Transition was not easy, but we had to accept the change. Finally, if I have to talk the benefits that Varsha, took in a lot. We come here to network. Now, all the district division area leaders recognize me because I was given an opportunity to participate at various levels. All in all, I can say is do your bit because you gain more and not the club. That is the magic. Over to you, Priyanka.
Experience is the best teacher. And your creativity has no bounds, Varsha. Let's give a big round of applause to Varsha. A great speech. Now, I think the voting link for best speaker. Now it's time for you to vote. The link has been sent to the WhatsApp group. The voting link is 1297. Kirtana, is that 1?
Yeah, the passcode is 1297. The link is sent.
Link is, you have another 30 seconds to do your voting. Hope everyone has done it. If anyone is there, please go ahead, vote for the best speaker. Now we are on to the next session of today's meeting, the table topic session. And we have a person, a wonderful person who completed a whole path in 9 months. She says she is just in gestation period. I said in gestation period, you have grown, maybe you have become a teenager in Toastmasters. And I asked her, how could you do it so fast? She said, I read, write, watch, and listen. And her energy is just contagious. The person who is going to take us forward for this table topic session, Toastmaster Nazneen. Over to you, Nazneen.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Smita, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening to all. You can unmute and respond. Where is the energy?
Good evening.
A little bit more.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good
Come on, it's a
evening.
festive season and a holiday season. Thank you so much. So what is table topics or the impromptu section? It is speaking on the spot. Either you will be given a quote or a picture, or maybe you will have to weave around a story with sentence when I give a sentence. And then what are the ways in which you can do it impromptu? You can adapt the audio method. What is this audio method? Or your opinion on that statement. R, what is it? Reason for the opinion that you have stated. E, what is it? Example for the opinion that you have stated. O, again, restate it, state your opinion and summarize. Isn't it easy? Yes. Isn't it easy? You can unmute and say. Okay.
Let's see.
Okay. We are going to have fun because this is holiday time, and let's get up all our energy together and you can just speak what comes to your mind. And the timing is 1 minute for you to qualify, 1 minute, 30 seconds for you to actually, you can, it's the mid time, and 2 minutes is the last time. And you get a grace period of 30 seconds so that some people might have more to speak on the topic. Some people are actually have a photographic memory more than listening. So for those people, I will be sharing my presentation and you can, it's time for you.
Beat the world, you can beat the war, you can talk to God, go back.
Sorry, there was some connection problem. So we will be starting our table topics now. I'll be sharing with you singers or bands. If you know the name of those singers or band, you can definitely tell me that you want to speak. I mean, you want to go with that singer or that band. Or if you're not aware who that singer is or the band is, then definitely there is a number for each singer and band. You can just tell me the number and I will click. So here I go, and all the best. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yes?
No, no. No,
I have.
please.
You can't see my screen?
I'm not able to. No, I can't.
1 second.
No.
No one can see the screen?
No, it's not visible, Nazneen. Suma here.
Yeah,
Nazneen, I think if it is problem, probably you can read it out.
No, I'll just do it. 1 second. It's done. Okay, here I go. Okay, can you see the screen now? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the first speaker for today is Toastmaster Sujata Sanam. Whom would you like to go with? Coldplay, there.
I don't know singers. Just you take any number is fine.
You choose the number.
Okay, fine. 5.
Okay, so we go with BTS. Role of artificial intelligence in rehabilitation. This is all yours.
Role of artificial intelligence
in rehabilitation.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters and dear guests. The topic I could not catch fully, but still I try to put my efforts. Rehabilitation is nothing but what I understood is taking hand-holding of below poverty people and hand-holding them. I relate that topic to today's festival. So today is a Deepavali festival, and the entire I can say only India it is celebrated. Of course, other parts of country is also celebrated by Indians only. This is a festival where we will be burning the crackers and we'll be celebrating with lighting the lamps and all. I personally feel instead of burning crackers and creating pollution, we should try to spend the same amount to the poor people and the people who are really in need of a hand holding. And if we try to handhold them for a while by way of the same amount what we are spending spending for the crackers, so that those people also can enjoy the festival by having full and sumptuous meal. So my personal opinion is, let us try to handhold the people and make the people around us also happy. At the same time, we should also feel happy. Over to you, Nazneen.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster. I'm sure definitely everybody would love to connect with what you have spoken, and I totally agree with you. So our next speaker is Toastmaster Surekha. What would you like to go with, ma'am?
I can't identify any of these singers.
Okay, the number. Number, ma'am.
I'll go with number 1.
Okay, we'll go with Coldplay. Let's see what they got. Violent games contribute to the youth violence.
I completely agree with this, that violent games contribute to youth violence because it is all about coming in alignment with a vibrational frequency. See, when we were in the 70s, there was an experiment that was conducted. And that experiment was conducted in a film theater. And during those times, the film theaters had a parking space which was either underneath or in front in their premises. And it was noticed that whenever there was a violent movie and a person who had parked his car behind, and he had to wait for the others to remove his car before he could remove his, he was impatient, he was angry, he was violent, he was frustrated if the others took a little time to come. And he used to emerge into a fight and keep honking in a frustrated manner. But if the movie was a family drama or a humorous one, then he had peace and tranquility were his allies. He was absolutely calm and nothing would affect. He would patiently wait for the other drivers to come. And I think the same psychology applies even to players. Violent games instigate violence within us. They instigate feelings of arrogance, entitlement, aggression, because, we become cortisol producing machines, damaging ourselves physiologically and psychologically. Once you play a violent game, it's like having it's like a person having a chainsaw in his hands with having no control over them. It's very dangerous. And why? Because the person keeps on discharging the chemical toxins of adrenaline and cortisol into his bloodstream. It is like pouring kerosene over fire. The entire body is open to disease. So when you play violent games, you cannot battle-proof your body. You cannot bulletproof your mind. You are susceptible to destroying yourself and you become a tool of mass destruction as well. So friends, don't play violent games because then you will end up as a hostage of your ego and as being a host to God. Over to Toastmaster.
Thank you so much for that insight on violence. I'm sure even Coldplay would definitely agree with you. The next speaker is Toastmaster Aaron Kant. Aaron, are you there? Aaron? Okay. Without wasting more time, we'll go with Toastmaster Shreyas. Toastmaster Shreyas? Toastmaster Shreyas? Okay. The next speaker is Toastmaster Rajdeep Manwani. Rajdeep?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. And,
okay, wait. Am I visible also? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be a privilege for me to choose. Is it okay with you?
No problem. You choose something. I don't know any
I
singers.
choose Selena Gomez for you. Let us see what she's got for you.
Okay.
What is the best time for a kid to get a phone? What is the best time for a kid to get a phone?
I'll say never. There is no time for a kid to get a phone because once you get the phone, you become very phony. You forget your parents. You only look at those games, Free Fire, PUBG, and all that. So there was an experiment conducted where they tested kids, where they gave them a phone and they didn't give them a phone. This was an experiment conducted by Angela Duckworth-Lewis in her famous book, The Grit. And she found that when you are in a digital era where you're seeing mobile phones, the attention span of a kid drops from 22 minutes to approximately 6 minutes. So every 6 minutes, he's looking at the WhatsApp, what's happening. Now, can you imagine if you give a phone to your kid's IQ falls below that of a goldfish? A goldfish has an attention span of around 7 minutes. So there is no good time to give a phone. There is only a good time to take away the phone from your kids. So every time you get a chance, take it away from him, expose him to nature. There is a beautiful saying which says that kids grow when they have horizontal exposure and vertical expertise. What is horizontal exposure? Horizontal exposure is expose them to a team game like football, expose them to an individual game like chess, expose them to different groups of people, and develop the vertical expertise. Might be drawing, but the enemy of horizontal exposure and vertical expertise is this one thing called a mobile phone. So take away that mobile phone. There is no good time to give a phone to your child. Thank you.
I don't know whether Selena Gomez will agree with you or not, but being a parent, I definitely agree with you. A big round of applause for DJ Radeep Manwal. The next speaker is Toastmaster Guru Prasad. Toastmaster Guru Prasad?
Yes.
Yes, you can choose. You are left with 3 and 4.
So let me try 3.
Okay, let's see what Adele has got in store for you. Pets are man's best friend.
Thank you, Nazneen. So I thought you started with a great speed. I thought you will be giving something, a Diwali Bonanza to me, but you're given the other way around. Okay, talking about pets. Yeah, pets are always good actually, because they're one thing, like, if you're looking at the people, the the human beings, always they start comparing. They have different thought processes, but pets are one thing, they are very clear. They know that what exactly they need to be done, and there is nothing there is completely pure. And that is one, pets are one, that is where they're very close to the humans. Even though they're very close, we cannot have because they have a different intentions, different mindset, and it keep changing with them, and they always change their mindset as per the scenarios, situations. Pets are one thing, they're very clear. No matter what, they always be loyal to their person whom we are they are helping them, or their bosses. So pets are always good, they don't have any kind of they don't have any kind of their own individual thoughts. So that's where I think it's good that pets are always close to the individuals, humans. Thank you very much, Nazin.
Thank you so much for that insight, that even I too believe that pets are man's best friend, because no matter what, a pet is more loyal to you than human beings, especially in today's world. And the next speaker is Toastmaster Suma. Toastmaster Suma?
Yes, I am here.
You're left with 4.
Okay, let me try.
Okay,
I
let us
don't
see
know.
what Adriana has got for you. Snooker is a boring sport.
Oh, okay. Actually, it is, for me, it is not a boring sport because it improves our focus. Where are we? Stay focused in your goals or achievement. It reminds me the way I focus on my work nowadays, and it gives a clear clarity to your goals, how to achieve and how to align your thought process and how to go about it with the action plan. So it helps us in grooming our thinking and also the clarity and the goal setting. And also it helps in achieving the targets. Sometimes it may be any task like completing any presentation or completing our day-to-day activities. with the effective plan like time management and all those alignment. That reminds me the sport if I see this picture. And I think I can resonate only that much now. Thank you so much for the topic.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Suma. A big round of applause. I'm sure snooker is not a boring game. Otherwise, my son wouldn't have been playing it. So the next speaker is Toastmaster Shreyas. Shreyas, are you there? Okay. Toastmaster Hannah. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you can choose from Hannah, you can choose.
Yeah. Okay. You should have given me Adele. I quite like Adele. So, and the others I don't know. Adele
You can go with the number. You can go with the
okay,
number.
7.
So which number do you choose? Prefer?
7.
Okay. Ellie Golding. Let's see what she's got in store for you. The era of technology is the best and worst of times.
Okay. Thank you so much for the topic, Nazneen. It is true. I mean, it depends how you would take technology. It is definitely the best. I mean, it's with technology, we've been able to meet under any circumstance. We've been able to communicate. So technology is definitely one of the biggest boons which we have blessed with at this point in time. It's worse. It only depends on how we are using it. I mean, say for social media, I mean, I'm not active on it, but I feel we are only prying on each other's lives, which we get that unnecessary attention on somebody else's life when we have our own time. So that way, it is just up to an individual how he or she sees technology in anything for that matter. But I would definitely say technology is the best. We have the best of everything at this point in time, be it in education, in your household, in anything. It's technology which has brought us this far. Maybe in olden days, we could do only say 1 or 2 things in our whole 24 hours. But now we do so many different things. We have learned so much. We've connected with the world. Even in Toastmasters, we've gone to different parts of the world, which we had no idea how meetings were conducted. So definitely I would bank and support that technology is the best which has happened in this era. So everything comes with its good and bad, but the good outweighs the bad. So I'm for technology, definitely. Over to you, Nazneen.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for our VDA? And my thoughts definitely resonate with yours, and I'm sure even Ellie Golding's will. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Chaitra. Toastmaster Chaitra, you're there?
Yes, hold on. Just switching on the video. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, you can choose.
Okay, is it One Direction?
Yes, it's One Direction.
Okay.
Let's see what they've got in store for you. My biggest concern for the future is.
Okay, so if we're looking at what's happening in the world today, I think the biggest topic for around this week is climate change, and definitely, that is one of my biggest concern for the world. We've been seeing, climate change making things worse progressively. I remember as a child, I used to enjoy being at my grandparents' place. It was in Kerala, surrounded by paddy fields, and we had rivers, a river up in front. And as I grew up, I would see things changing slowly, bit by bit. The rains would be a little more extreme. The summers would be a little worse. Every year it would just get worse and worse and worse. And now I think we've reached this tipping point, and we need to definitely, put the issue of climate change as a priority and make sure that we don't, release too much carbon dioxide. We take measures to mitigate our carbon footprints, and we take measures to pressure our leaders, our politicians to put things into action on a larger scale, so that we end up with a world that gets better, so that we can enjoy the outdoors that I used to enjoy as a child, so that future generations can see the same outdoors. Back to you, Toastmaster Nazneen.
Kudos to you. What a beautiful insight. We always think about our concerns, and you're thinking about the global concerns. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Chaitra. Our next speaker is a guest, Bhavani. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just
You can choose.
Okay, I will choose 8. Bruno
Okay.
Mars. Just a minute, I just have to, I mean, not 8, sorry, 9.
Bruno Mars.
9, I'm sorry.
Okay. If I could time travel. If I could time travel. The stage is yours, Bhavani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nazneen, for this amazing topic. Good evening, Toastmasters and honored guests. I am Bhavani Balaji, and I am a freshman law student in Bangalore Institute of Legal Studies. And I'm also a history aficionado. So speaking of which, the topic given to me is if I could time travel, which has always been my dream. And I also keep pressurizing my engineering friends to, to invent a time traveling mission to me. So, for me, so that I can use it. And I will get their patent work done very easily once I become a lawyer. So on that funny note, if I could ever time travel, I would obviously go back to the days of the pre-independence struggle, that is during the 1857 and before the 1857, even before the British could actually occupy our country. And I would take a long ride from there till the time we got our independence, and also the post-independence era, because I would want to see how the politics and how the policies were being made at that point of time. And I would specifically go back to the days of Chandragupta Maurya and Chanakya, because they dreamt of having the Akhand Bharat, which actually encompassed India, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and parts of Nepal and Bhutan and Myanmar and parts of Sri Lanka. So I would want to see how India actually looked before colonization and before the imperialistic regime. So yeah, I would like to go back to probably the 500 AD and start from there, and would want to watch what happens up to 2001, because I was born in 2002. So to me, even 2001 is history. So I would want to take a ride like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and a big round of applause to Bhavani. I'm sure what you said, you meant it. I'm pretty much sure. So our next speaker is Kunal. Our guest Kunal, are you there? Yes?
He's the Toastmaster Kunal.
Kunal, Toastmaster Kunal. Okay. Can we go with the Toastmaster Kamlesh?
Yeah, Nazneen.
Yeah, you can choose Kamlesh. Okay. You're left with 8 and 10.
8, 10.
You want 8?
10.
8 or 10?
10.
Okay. Let's see. A ghost you want to meet.
Okay, very interesting topic for me. A ghost you want to meet. Ghost is something which we always dreamt of, and especially in the childhood days, and anything that dark comes into as a shadow, it presumed to be a ghost. And recently, that it reflects me that it was a time, especially in when I am in my childhood, and there was a long tree, and when I got up in the night and I see that there is a breeze breeze was flowing, and and there was something that was happening, which made me felt that it is something which is some spiritual power, or my forefathers coming and giving some blessings. So it could be something that I always dreamt of, but I never thought that I could meet with a ghost. But definitely we should always dream of ourselves, that meet with our own friends, colleagues, families, because once they are not there, we miss most. And then you regret that why I have not able to meet them the way we wanted. So it is very important that to live your life lively. Don't regret to meet with something which is not exist or supposed to not to exist. So always try to meet with my friends and family members. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much for the insight, and kudos to you, Toastmaster Comedy. Can we have a big round of applause? So this will be the last speaker due to paucity of time, and the speaker is Toastmaster Soumya. You're there? Okay. Any volunteers?
I can go. Sorry, there was some logistical issue when you called out.
Who I didn't. Okay. This is
Kunal.
Toastmaster. Okay. 8 is there for you.
Yes.
So I'll click on Charlie Put. Yes?
Yes.
Let's see what you have. Sorry. Okay, you can choose from these.
Can you pick something?
You can choose any number, Nazni.
Any number.
And give him the topic.
Okay, I'll give you 12.
Okay.
Invest in cryptocurrency, yes or no?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for this wonderful topic. Invest in cryptocurrency, yes or no? Well, cryptocurrency, as we all know, has made headlines and keeps making headlines either when it rises or it falls. People like Elon Musk invest, and then everybody starts investing. But is it really a right thing to do? Just taking out money from somewhere and investing it in cryptocurrency? I don't think so. You could invest maybe 1% or 2% of your income or savings to understand how this works. And then if required, one can invest slightly more. But in treating it at par with equity or other financial instrument for investment, treating cryptocurrency at par does not make sense according to me. Why? Because it's not handled or regulated by any country. And hence, I would say one should invest a little bit to understand, but do it as a sample and be extremely cautious and just learn how it works. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insight, and kudos to you. Kudos to all the speakers who spoke, the participants. Thanks so much. The greatest hegemony is the committee members, leadership at Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Bangalore Toastmasters, you rock! All of you, can you all unmute and just give a big round of applause to you, everyone? Now, before I hand over my baton to the Toastmaster of the day, I would just like to say thank you by sharing my screen.
Thank you, Nazneen, for that breathtaking session. I said her energy is contagious. Nazneen, you had some amazing combinations, I should say. Toastmaster Hannah and technology, Toastmaster Suma and snooker, Toastmaster Guru and pets, Rajdeep sir and Selena Gomez. Let's give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Nazneen for that wonderful session. Now, who wants to be a champion? Here comes the session, which is a breakfast, which is considered to be a breakfast for champions. But before that, please vote for the best table topic speaker. The voting code is 1297. The voting link is sent to the WhatsApp group. You can take the next 30 seconds to do the voting. And we are resuming with the evaluation session. We have a Toastmaster Ayyappa Ponachanda as the general evaluator for today. Over to you, Toastmaster Ayyappa.
Thank you, Smita. Good evening to all Toastmasters and my dear, guests.
Good evening.
A good fight. Good evening, ma'am. A good fight. Let's see, how did we fight to carry over this meeting to this evening?
Ayyappa? Looks like he's lost his connection. Wait, let me reach out. Ayyappa, you're on mute.
Yes, sorry. So it's all about let go of things and be good with this people, good with our this universe. Let's see how did we conduct the meeting today. I love the way you guys, the executive committee were preparing for this meeting, and from the Sergeant at Arms and our secretary in particular. And when the meeting started, you guys were greeting the people with a warm smile. I felt as if we've been here for a long time, and such warmth you gave all the people, all the Toastmasters and the guests. That's what is really needed to start a meeting. That's one of the positive tones we are setting to start any meeting. The meeting started exactly at 6:30, and our Sergeant at Arms, I love the way your enthusiastic nature, your the smiling personality, and always you'll be filled with a lot of enthusiasm. That's what is really required as a Sergeant at Arms. Meeting will go for a toss, and you had it as always, and you had a very powerful story about your health and how you overcame and connected well to the theme. Fantastic. Now, what is it you can do to take your presentation to the next level is, because you are the Sergeant at Arms, you are the one who set the tone for the meeting. So probably instead of sitting and presenting your talk, you can go away from your seat and you can bring out it more Josh, because you are the one who is, spreading the energy, spreading the positive tone to the rest of the meeting. So little more Josh, little more emotion, little more gestures. Ask them to do some little small activity, maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute activity, because already other people would be sharing, explaining it to teams. So you can spend your time in different, channelize your energy in different section. Probably if you do this, your presentation, you can take it to the next level. Yeah. And having said that, you always do very well, and you can do much better. You can always do much better in your future meetings. Congratulations, and let's give our Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Kirtana a good round of applause.
Thank you so much.
And yes, you did introduce our, presiding officer, Vice President Education, Toastmaster Hannah Victoria, very well. That's because I felt it's something, a unique way of introducing the president, presiding office, fantastic. Now, Hannah, I've seen your growth for the last 2-3 years. It was fantastic. And you speak with a lot of conviction. You speak with a lot of smile. Whenever you speak, we feel like listening to you. And you had 2 stories. You had a story about your, not two, you had a story about your personal story. Fantastic. People should have the guts to share our personal stories. And presidential address to the next level, because you are the CEO of the, because as I still remember the Bosco sir and Cherian used to tell, you're the presiding officer, the CEO of the club, right? So when you come, you are giving motivational speech. A little more preparation would have been, helped you much better. And after after your personal story, you don't say like, that's what I would like to share. Absolutely not required. You just connect very well with the your Toastmasters moment. And I mean, that will give you a good, there should be a call for action in your, because you are giving motivational talk. Call for action is, I mean, if it is there, it will be nice. Yeah. And after that, you can connect to Toastmasters moment, and you can introduce the Toastmaster of the day. And having said that, your presentation skill is always good, and you can do much. Our presiding officer, a good round of applause. Now, before I introduce give my inputs to our Toastmaster of the day, I will call the evaluate their inputs. Let me call upon Lalit Dhanush, distinguished Toastmaster Lalit Dhanush, to evaluate Toastmaster Varsha.
Thank you, Ayappa, for that wonderful introduction. Now, let's address the speaker in the room, and that's Varsha. So, Varsha, since the last few months, I think you've been doing fantastic in terms of your speeches. You gave an outstanding performance in the evaluation and table topics contest. That means you've really set the bar very, very high, especially in Bangalore Toastmasters Club, right? And I love the way you started your speech, where you started with music. You were having some sort of dramatics which grabbed everybody's attention. But however, here are a few things that I personally feel that you could work on. And I'm going to be super critical in this evaluation, simply because you set that standard. So Varsha, you grabbed everybody's attention. You also made sure that the music was catchy, and the only thing that I felt that was lacking was a little bit of expression on the face. I felt you were a little hesitant in terms of truly expressing yourself at that moment. Sometimes that can happen. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the show. Enjoy your own show, right? And express completely. Now, let's move on to the next part of your objectives of the speech, Varsha. First, your objective asks you to talk about the role you played in a voluntary organization where you learned something out of your 6 months role, and you could actually give away some takeaways for us. However, I felt, Varsha, you had great insights, you had great facts, you had so much information. Sometimes I remember my high school teacher who used to always say, too much of anything leads to indigestion, right? So I felt the facts that you were stating were way too high.
you should have immediately got onto the story. You should have got onto in the year 2019 when I got elected as vice president of membership. I was given the role of not just the VPM, but also of taking care of everybody else in the club in terms of their membership. I was supposed to keep them happy. You explain your role, okay? And then get into story mode. But unfortunately, Varsha, throughout the speech, I never heard a story from you. You just kept telling me facts, 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 and facts. I'll tell you what, I love Vijay Anand's quote, data tells, story sells. You were just giving me data. Data is nothing but facts, right? So you just kept telling me, this is what I did, that is what I did. It's not about what you did. It's about how you can make me feel as a listener. So here are a few things that I think you can start working on. Number one, get to the emotion, start with the story. Don't tell them what you're going to tell them, but just tell them. That means don't say, now in this speech, I'm going to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things and let me begin. That's not how you begin. Get to the story. Immediately start with the story. Grab my attention. Don't try to have an index for a book, right? You're already in the book. You're already in the story. Play the character now. Second, I also felt you were getting a little stuck here and there. Please do check with your R counter as to how many filler words you used. I on record got at least 6 to 7 filler words. That meant you were a little nervous. So Varsha, apart from this, you kept telling me lessons that you kept on learning. Every point had a lesson to be learned. In fact, let me tell you that lessons will be only learned after emotion. So finish the story and then tell me these are your takeaways. 1, 2, 3. These are the 3 takeaways. But as soon as you finished part of your facts, you kept giving me your takeaways, which I felt was not necessary. Okay. On that note, Varsha, you are an extremely accomplished speaker. You've really proved to people time and again as to how great of a speaker you can become. In fact, I feel that this was an underperformance kind of sort of for your own stature that you've built in the club. My sincere request is for you to repeat this speech. I will definitely get on call, not today, but tomorrow, and help you out as to how you can actually make this a little better. Also, you spoke about 2 roles. You spoke about VPM and VPE. The objective was to just speak about 1 role. 6 months. You spoke about 1 year. By that itself, it was too much, right? Again, indigestion problem here. So on that note, at the end of it, don't say you got so many awards. Sometimes, you know what happens? I was in this mode as well in Toastmasters throughout my 5-6 years of journey. I always praised myself. I spoke about my accomplishments. Always in your speech, if you tell you got an award, people will think you're showing off. But if you said, because of somebody I got an award, then you're making somebody a hero. Always make somebody a hero. That way people will latch onto your story or you become the villain. These are the 2 ways you can actually become a captivating Toastmaster. I know I've been taking time, but I think I want to serve my purpose as an evaluator much better to the speaker. On that note, thank you so much, Varsha. Happy Diwali, and hope I see your speech skyrocket like an actual rocket and you make a blast out there. On that note, thank you so much, General Evaluator. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lalit, distinguished Toastmaster Lalit, sorry. Yeah, you're a great evaluator because my role here is to evaluate evaluator. And a couple of suggestions to distinguished Toastmaster Lalit. So we never use the words like, don't do it, don't tell it, right? Because sometimes it so happen that your personal comments, we can generalize that because audience may not be negative for that. So probably you should personalize, you should share opinions instead of, I sometimes feel it's kind of intimidating. Having said that, you are a great evaluator, no doubt about it. Probably, you want to cover many things on the spot. Good job done. Thank you so much. And let's give a good round of applause to distinguished Toastmaster Lalit as well as Toastmaster Varsha. Now let me call upon Toastmaster Nagesh to evaluate the speaker, Toastmaster Mahesh Shankar.
Give me an audio video check. Thank you. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I was so thrilled to conduct this evaluation at this meeting for the speaker, Toastmaster Mahesh Shankar. You all don't know how elated I am doing this role for the first time in this club. My score for evaluation in this club is 0. Let me move on from 0 to the person whose speech title was 0. Toastmaster Mahesh. We are generally ears when icebreaker comes up. As zero is never unimportant. This was no ordinary speech. Great mathematician G.H. Hardy and his prodigy Srinivas Ramanujam always debated if numbers, patterns, and equation in maths are discoveries or inventions. For me, Toastmaster Mahesh, you uncovered your life. Your speech had zeal, was eloquent, rounded, and orotund. Icebreaker is usually started, I have seen it as, I was born to, or I was born at. But you charmed me with your story that still gives you shivers. In fact, I turned and looked back. It was so realistic. Let me tell you what else captivated me in your speech. I leaned further to listen to you when you started talking about your party, your amma, and then your appa. When you talked about your mischief, I leaned backwards. I related to my share of mischiefs that I had when I was young. I knew what was coming forward in your story next. The knuckles, and I chuckled. You had me with you in your entire speech, where you explained zero, which you aren't mathematically, but you depicted your personality traits. I got to know you better. Well done. Now that you have decided to tread on a next pathway, may I provide you two simple suggestions about your stage presence. They're not difficult as you're a seasoned Toastmaster and a good speaker. I've seen you giving speeches earlier. In my opinion, if you had stood, I would have seen a continuation of your earlier stage presence. Secondly, in sync with your words, it was your right hand that supported you all the time. I felt it could have been used if you had used the other hand also to support you. There could have been probably symmetry in the gesture I saw. Wishing you all the best of learning in your new path. Toastmaster Mahesh, look forward to see you sparkle again. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nagesh. It was a wonderful evaluation. And Mahesh, yeah, because probably you can start working a little bit of your body language. If you start working on, probably your speech would have gone to the next level. Yeah. Now, to evaluate distinguished Toastmaster Prakash Tamhankar, let me call upon Toastmaster Vivek Vijayan.
Thanks so much, Toastmaster Ayyappa. Public relations strategies for Toastmasters from the best Toastmaster strategist himself, with an amalgamation of the PR strategies across 3 heterogeneous clubs. That was brilliant. What I loved in Toastmaster Prakash's speech. First point, strategy where with numbers, as they say, ideas are dime a dozen, but execution. This is the problems were stated very well. What was the problem? What was the need of PR for all these 3 clubs? Was very well stated. Second one, strategy were all winning strategies, and it was not something which was hypothetical. And he had skin in the game. He was not talking about strategies from a book or anything. All this, he had skin in the game, and that is brilliant. The third point, all strategies were atypical. What I mean is, it's not typical PR strategies. No social media, no road shows, no flyers. It was all from heart. What was done. It was zero cost PR strategies. It was brilliant. Now, however, such good strategy speech actually deserves a much larger audience, and I would say across different nations. How can we do that? I would say, if I could say, DTM Prakash, your speech was strategically brilliant, but tactically not so brilliant. How can we make it tactically also brilliant? Your focus was on speechcraft as a PR tool. Then, if that was the focus, then the website thing is an aberration, which was sandwiched between two instances of speechcraft being used as an effective PR tool. You could have eliminated the website strategy. That's one way of doing it. Or the other way of doing it is that give website strategy an equal amount of weightage, or at least some more weightage than it being just a small filler in between a sandwich. And the second one that I would, in my opinion, is you could have detailed as to how someone else could have replicated your strategy. Say with three easy steps. Oh, these 3 easy steps, and these are the things that you would see a change in your metrics. That would have been effective. I feel if you can slightly enrich your speech with this above 2 aspects, then your speech can be turned into a webinar, which can be titled Successful Zero Cost PR Strategies, where scores of people across the globe would line up to listen to you to make a change in their club. Actually, I really, honestly speaking, look forward to a workshop like that or a webinar of yours. I can also assist for that without much delay in such a webinar that you would, if you can do. Thank you so much for such an interesting perspective. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vivek. Yes, you did the postmortem of his Prakash's speech very well. I really appreciate that. And DTM Prakash, and I love the way you present the speech, all the technicalities, Toastmaster Vijay.
You're muted, Ayyappa.
You're on mute. Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Vivek, for that wonderful evaluation. I really loved the way you conducted the postmortem of a speech. It was brilliant. Now, talking about DTM Prakash's presentations delivery part, you did it brilliant. I'm not talking about the technicality, that is Vivek already covered, but the presentation was brilliant, because I think this is one of the best presentations I've seen. Your gestures, your face, you were very, I felt you were very normal, right? So congratulations and all the best to Toastmaster Vivek as well as DTM Prakash. Now, we had the table topic master, Nazneen. Nazneen, I loved the topics, because when I heard your first topic, I was wondering what is going to happen, because what Sujata is going to speak about artificial intelligence rehabilitation, right? I felt it was something, all the topics were difficult, I thought. And as the flow went on, the topics are very simple and the people are very comfortable to talk. And that's what is really required as a TTM, to put them at ease so that they can speak comfortably. And a couple of suggestions, probably if you want to do some, bring some uniqueness in your presentation, probably you should give a little bit of dry run before the meeting, because I felt we wasted at least 5 to 6 minutes. Probably you could have covered 2 to 3 people in that span of time, right? And also I would suggest all the TTMs, because you just say it out loud, and you just bring out a presentation, you bring out your creativity in on the spot telling the topic, right? Because somewhere I felt, not only this time, most of the times I attended a couple of meetings, other clubs also, they waste so much of time in your presentations, because technical glitches or one thing or the other will come up, and there will be a space for the technical glitches. Probably these things could have been avoided, and probably you can crisp explain what is table topics all about, how you can attempt the topics, and let me call up the first person, this topic it is, right? So there we'll save a lot of time, and the 2-3 people beginning, and if they're not turning up, don't call them again, right? That's it. You call somebody else, because it's all commitment. When I give the name to any of this thing, they have to come for the meeting. It is not like begging for them, please come, please come. No, absolutely not. Call them once. If they're not turning up, don't call them again. Yeah, and having that great presentation and your diction, your language, your body language, your voice, the pitch, it was brilliant. Congratulations, Nazneen, and all the table topic speakers and table topic master as well. Let's give them a good round of applause. Now, let me call upon the tag team. Present your report, please.
Once again, a very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm really glad to announce that not many has overshooted the time. In speakers, Toastmaster Varsha had overshooted by a few seconds, around 5 seconds. And in evaluation session, Toastmaster Lalit overshooted by 2 minutes. And in table topic session, none of the table topic speakers were well within the time. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Yeah, let me thank you, Priyanka. I think there is some problem with the network. Let me call upon our counter, Aditya. Toastmaster Aditya, please.
Thank you, Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, here's my R counter report. Mahesh had 1 R, Prakash had 1 Toastmaster Varsha had 1 and 1 but. So that's all from me. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya. I'm not sure. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, you are.
Just 1 second, Ayappa. The voting link for the best evaluator is put in the WhatsApp group. The passcode is 1297. Please do vote for the best evaluator. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I'll give you all 10 seconds for that. Okay, in the meantime, let me call upon Jainam, Toastmaster Jainam, for his grammarian report. Toastmaster Jainam, please.
Yes, yes. So for the grammarian's report today, for the people who use the word of the day, as far as I know, the table topic master Nazneen Begum has used the word of the day, which is hegemony, which is hegemon. Then some of the improper grammatical usages that I have noted are, I heard it as at a young age. It would be better said as at a young age, because Y is not a vowel. Then we get award to our club could probably be better stated as our club gets rewarded. There is completely pure could be better said as they are completely pure. They always be loyal could be better said as they are always loyal. And for the good usages of English that I have noted down, Toastmaster, so like today's would be listening in an exemplary way. Proof of the pudding is in the eating. As a testimony to that, your creativity knows no bounds, susceptible to destroying yourself, hostage of your own ego. Kids grow when they have horizontal exposure and vertical expertise. Data tells, story tells, and speech turned into a webinar. And so this is what I have recorded. And so I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jainam. Now let me call upon the listener. Smita, I'm not forgotten. I'll read out the report. I mean, your evaluation comments after the listener's feedback. Yeah. Listener Toastmaster Preeti, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ayappa. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Once again, in the interest of time, let me dive into the questions directly. Who said topic of climate change should be the current priority? Who said topic of climate change should be the right. What was the acronym used by Toastmaster Mahesh in his speech? Zero. Can someone expand that?
Zeal.
empathy,
relationship.
No, it's responsibility.
No, it is relationship.
Relationship.
Relationship, original.
Original, yeah.
Original. Yeah.
Yes.
Who wants to go back in time to Chandragupta Maurya's regime?
Bhavani.
Right. According to DTM Prakash sir, which program not only garners members but also takes PR to a different level?
Speechcraft.
Right. Who said too much of anything leads to indigestion?
Lalit.
Lalit, yeah.
DTM Lalit.
How did Toastmaster Hannah track her resilience?
By marking one in her diary.
Right. Who said we become cortisol producing machine?
Sureka ma'am.
Over to you, Toastmaster Ayyappa. Thank you. All did very well.
Thank you, listener. Yeah, thank you so much, Toastmaster Preeti, for that wonderful questions and the illustrating those answers. Yeah, I forgot when you come when I see you only I remembered I did not give feedback on your secretary report. I'll just quick minute report. You presented so well, Preeti. Your report was very crisp and very clear. And probably one suggestion is probably it is not like it is like very monotone. Probably you again here you can use your body language, your expressions, like probably the guy is winning, you can bring, your face should tell us though this is what is happening. Put it as a story, right? So everything what you present in Toastmasters podium is a story. You put it as a story, and people should think as if they're listening something very new. Right, there is something they should go back to those people to the previous day's meeting and download the content what happened over there, right? So you have to create a picture, start doing that. It will give more impact to your presentation. Yeah, having said that, congratulations for conducting this role so wonderfully for in all these meetings. Congratulations once again. Let's give Toastmaster Preeti a good round of applause for her secretary report. Now, our TMOD Toastmaster Smita. Smita, let me tell you very honestly, because over the last couple of years, I've been looking at your presentations. You used to fumble, you used to forget the words, but your presentation is so smooth nowadays. We feel like listening to you. You just came a long way from your journey in your Toastmaster journey. I'll tell you, fantastic growth in Toastmaster journey, because even if you look compared to the last year and this year, there is a huge growth. That's what I would like to say. And you had two questions in the beginning to start with, and you had an analogy of the rude boss, and later you just spoke about one of the incidences of one of our members. And then you spoke about the Toastmaster journey, Toastmasters movement, and you had wonderful rejoiners for each of the speakers, each of the speeches. That's brilliantly done. One couple of suggestions, like now you are good in speaking, you know how to speak in the audience. Now just go away from the audience and just be all out, because MC role is all about giving energy, however dry the meeting is, however boring the speeches are, however boring the persons are. It is in your hand to give more energy and josh to the meeting, right? So probably you can start working on that, because your first part is over, because your confidence building, speaking with conviction, you are brilliant on that now. Your language diction. Now you need to go far away from the podium and start, present from there, right? A lot of habits, crack some maybe self-deprecating jokes or whatever, like bring josh to the meeting. That's one thing. And one more thing is, see, always when you're reading introductions, we can read it out. Right? You have to read the introductions. It is, unless it is very small, because sometimes you used to see your notepad and coming, because there was slight distraction in that. Probably if you're not comfortable in presenting, just presenting the introduction, looking at the camera, just read it out, no problem, right? That's only suggestion I have. And you did a fantastic role today, and let's give Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Smita, a good round of applause. We are already running late, and without anything, I think yes, covered everything. That's it from my end. Thank you, Executive Committee, for giving me this opportunity, and yeah, Toastmaster Hannah for fixing me for this role. And good night, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayyappa, for the evaluation done. The whole team of evaluators, thank you so much. Without much ado, please vote for the best role taker. The link is in the WhatsApp group. The voting code is 1297. Please go ahead and vote. And with that, I pass the baton to Toastmaster Hannah, the acting presiding officer for today. Over to you, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Smita. I once again take this opportunity to thank each one of you for taking up the roles. There were many roles which we had fixed only this week, beginning of this week. So thank you for the time and effort. I know the TMOD role is not a couple of hours job. It is you have to prepare for it. So thank you all for the efforts. And while we wait for the results, I'd also like to invite a few. I know that there is a guest called Pranavi Reddy. I know she spoke earlier, but I think you've already attended. That's what you mentioned, that you've attended a meeting earlier. So how did you feel, Pranavi, in the sense, was it a learning experience, or it's all yours? Okay, I think she's not in the meeting, but I seen her. And I also a big thank you for the people who have waited till the end of the meeting. There are many times which we drop off halfway through when our role is done, or there are many of our members and a few guests who have stayed back till the end of the meeting, which is a brilliant feel for the meeting on the whole. I'd also like to call upon Bhavani. Bhavani is quite a star. She's just a kid. She's still in her teens, if I may say. And she's a speech crafter and a wonderful girl. She knows, I've not met a girl so young and so focused in what she wants. And she's a brilliant speaker and a good person by heart. I'd like to call upon Bhavani, please. Bhavani, it's yours now.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening, Toastmasters and the guests who have stayed back. And this is first of all, thank you, Toastmaster Hannah, for that kind of an introduction. I didn't see that coming. So thank you so much. And so this is my fourth meeting. I have attended 2 online and 1 offline meeting at the Toastmasters, and I have been a speech crafter. So I finished 5 weeks of speechcraft, and my mentor is also here, Nazneen ma'am. And first of all, I really need to thank Toastmasters because they gave me such an amazing mentor. She is the best mentor someone can ever have, because more than mentor, she's like family to me, because we both like start with speechcraft, and whatever we talk goes on to, I don't know, our lives, society and politics, movies, and it's just on and on. So thank you, Toastmasters, for introducing someone like that into my life. It's added a lot of value. And I joined Toastmasters because I thought it would be a great platform for public speaking and also to put forth what we think. And I thought it would be a platform wherein you could use your time better rather than, whiling it away or something. So I joined like that, but it has been a great learning experience till today for me. And I have met a lot of people from different backgrounds and different professional careers. So that has been a big eye-opening event for me, And I again have to really thank Toastmaster Priyanka for actually calling me when I actually applied into the Speechcraft program. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Priyanka, if you're here. And over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhavani. We now move to the last but important segment of the meeting. We announce the winners. The Taggle team, the best Taggle role player goes to Toastmaster Preeti. A huge round of applause for her, please. The best role taker award goes to the charming Toastmaster Smitha Roshi. The best evaluator goes to the North Star Toastmaster Vivek Vijayan. The best table topic speaker goes to none other than DTM Dr. Rajdeep Manwani. And the best speaker goes to DTM Prakash Tamhankar. Thank you so much once again for this lovely time and it was a great experience with all of you. Thank you and have a great weekend.